me the odds. Hey, go!
Ojalá means some people are worth milking for.
We're in the tower. We are ready for takeoff.
Welcome, everybody. Broadcasting live from Danny's favorite attraction, Filler Magic, where Frankie loves the music and Steve thinks it's a show about a magical guy named Phil. My name is John. I'm the sergeant of milking at Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. And of course, I'm joined by the man that probably killed Bambi's mother, Frankie, the president of the Kylo Ren BDSM fan club, Danny, and an individual who wasn't able to join us for the last 2 weeks of the podcast because he was actually out searching for Sasquatch in all of the wrong places. My co-host Steve, welcome to another live episode of the Hyperion Review, a weekly look at Disney entertainment seen through an uncleaned Main Street window. This week, we're going to be discussing WandaVision, pretty much the entire episode, our thoughts, our reactions, what we liked, what we didn't like. But before we get to that, we've got two housekeeping tasks. The first one, and to get us started tonight, is going to be, we got some March Madness to talk about. But before we do that, and for those of you that joined us in the very beginning, you probably know what I'm about to say. We've got a special guest tonight. Everybody, please welcome Brandon from the Heart for the Heart. There he is.
Yay!
What's going on, Brandon? How you doing, Brandon? How you doing, buddy? You doing okay?
Brandon.
Oh, you're muted.
Oh.
Look at Frankie's trying to censor him already.
How about now?
There we go.
Wow. we already had the pre-show talk about where our content was going to go, so I'm not going to say anything. But how's everybody doing? Good.
Doing good. Well, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks.
I think Steve's muted. So it's right now. Nope, Danny, you're good.
Good. How yourself?
There we go.
What
right.
the shit?
Hey,
right,
language
Steve.
in the
Okay.
first minute. Language in the first minute. We gotta.
You guys need a swear jar.
Ooh.
We do. Yeah.
We'd be
Kind of
able to
like on The Masked Singer, where every time somebody says it's Jamie Foxx, you got to put in $50.
Yes.
We could easily
All right, well-
afford a trip to Disney World for all of us if we
Yes,
had a
for
swear
sure.
jar.
So, Danny, who do we have battling tonight in our March Madness?
So I believe it's Ray and Dopey.
It is Ray and Dopey.
Ray and Dopey.
Ray. Yep, Ray from The Princess and the Frog, and Dopey from, come on, what else is Dopey from? Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So simple logistics here. Brandon, you're our guest, so you're going to get us started tonight. Who wins? Who's the most lovable loser? Or the most marvelous? What's the other
Misfit?
word? Misfit. There we go.
Right.
The most
Okay.
marvelous misfit between the two, and then we'll just kind of go Danny, Steve, myself, and Frankie to end us off. Whenever you're ready, Brandon. 2 minutes is yours.
2 minutes. I don't even think I'm going to need that long. I'm going to say Dopey over Ray is going to be my pick. Yes, I will. Old school. I would say I'm probably more familiar with Dopey, first of all, than I am with Ray. I've only seen Princess and the Frog a few times with my oldest daughter, but I'll say Dopey just for how his name has the connotations that goes along with that. Dopey, it's a stupid person. It's a person who can't get things done or anything like that, but shoot, I don't know. I just know a little bit about Dopey more than I do about Ray, to be completely honest with you. That's why I'm picking Dopey.
All right, Danny,
I
all
have no
yours.
idea.
Okay, well, given my facial expressions while Brandon talked, I'm sure you can guess who I'm going to be going for.
Who's that?
All Team Ray. I'm all Team Ray. Did Dopey make you cry like a little bitch at the end of the movie? No. Did you have an emotional attachment to Dopey like you did Ray when he found his Evangeline? When he was finally with Evangeline in the sky, did you feel that way about Dopey? No. No. There is nobody there. I don't think there's another sidekick that has gotten as many tears out of me as Ray did, because like you go in and you're like, it's a Disney movie, nobody really dies. Nope, Ray's dead, but he gets to be with his Evangeline, and he's funny and he's helpful. He manages to get them to Mama Odie. He's got this giant family who love him so much. So yeah, dude, we're Team Ray over here all the way.
All right, Steve, what do you got for us?
I gotta go Team Ray, man. It's just that Southern Bayou accent combined with just like he's so dumb in the sweetest, like helpful way possible. Whereas Dopey was just kind of in the way. So like Ray was endearing in his own way. Like as soon as you met him, versus Dopey, he was just kind of there. You know, he's just there, just kind of in the background. So, well, and Danny's dad, hi, buddy. I'm not surprised by that.
He's
So.
with me.
If you should know how many times I've been disowned. It's becoming a
I can only
problem.
imagine. I can only imagine. All right. So I guess it's my turn.
Oh, are we just skipping John?
No, that's fine. You can go ahead, Frankie.
I figured I'd leave John last because, I mean, last time his voice didn't really matter. And, well, I am Team Ray. He sings a good song. I actually felt heartfelt for him, he said. And he's actually an integral part of the whereas in Dopey, I mean, his name else, he's just a comical relief in that. So, and besides, I think my wife, I did it. So yeah.
Well, I am going to go with Ray as well. Sorry, Brandon, you're completely outnumbered on this one. I think this is the first time the four of us have ever agreed on anything.
That's what I came here for. Unity.
You got to keep up the tradition of disagreeing with everything I say. So, yeah, no surprise for all the reasons that you guys have mentioned. Ray just, man, he's the best. He tugs at your heart the entire time you see him on screen. You know, he sings to a star. And then most importantly, and something that I don't think anybody's mentioned tonight, he's voiced by Jim Cummins. He's voiced by the guy that plays Pooh and Darkwing Duck, and I'm trying to think of all the other characters he's done. I mean, he's done a million of them. So how can you not love a Jim Cummins character? So, all right. So with a vote of
like
4-1,
chat's a little
again,
tight on there.
sorry, Brandon. Well, I don't think it's going to matter because unless the chat comes through and completely unanimously agrees, even if they do that, it's still 2-4. So.
I just come on this show to lose. That's what you guys bring me on here to do.
Absolutely. So
Set
yeah,
me
4-1
Moose.
with a resounding agreement from the chat for Brandon here. Ray moves on. He does dethrone Dopey here, and it looks like eventually they're going to be taking on the Pub Thugs from Tangled.
Oh, take the pub thugs all the way.
Well, lucky for you, we've got some time before we have to do that. Moving on, before we get to our main topic tonight about WandaVision, and probably the most important thing we're going to discuss tonight, is we have to announce a winner from our contest last week. So, Frankie, do you want to kind of fill everybody in on what that contest looks like, how people entered into it, and then we'll spin the wheel?
Yeah, sure. So we have this Pop Funko giveaway of Steamboat, and it was simple to enter into our contest. All you had to do was follow social media platforms and the chance to win. We did have some good turns, and I guess we're going to do our now. Really, John, what do you say?
Yeah, I'd say let me share my screen to you here, and hope the internet doesn't go crazy. and we will we'll get the spiel winning, the wheel spinning here.
Ooh,
You know,
Brandon,
John,
you're
I
on the
think
list.
Oh,
Who is it?
Of course, it's Al.
It's Al.
of course.
Who's asleep right now? Who's
Yeah,
not
our mortal
even
enemy.
Wow.
He's not even watching.
Man.
Sleep, guys.
Well,
we're just gonna have to tell
as
him
much
if
as
he
it
wants it, he
pains
has to
me-
watch us.
He has to stay up late for next week's episode. Al, thanks, buddy,
Yes.
for following us and living up to the standard that we've expected you to live up to, being probably the nicest guy in Station 71's entire Discord out of the misfits that are over in that Discord.
True.
I'm pleasantly surprised that Mario did not win. I would hate to have had to hand deliver that to him next weekend when I'm in New Jersey.
Are you going to crash his wedding?
It's Danny's love, so that's a. I'm thinking about it.
I think you should crash Mario's wedding.
If Mario had won, I think we would probably on a new spin anyway. So, yeah.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So, all right. So that's the housekeeping stuff. Al, again, congratulations. Brandon, of course, we appreciate you coming on. You are more than welcome to hang around for the. Have you seen WandaVision? Let's start there.
Not the entire thing.
Okay, so maybe you don't want to stick around because we are going to be discussing.
No, you don't. No.
We are going to be discussing
no.
the whole thing. Beginning
It's
to
going
end.
to be
Deep. I swear.
I don't want to. As much as I love to hang out with you guys, I don't know if
Yeah.
I want to spoil it yet. I'm trying to do good and be good by this one. So I'll. Man, Hey guys, I'm watching every week, so don't think I'm not.
No, we
Trying to
know
do
you're
it.
there. You're in the chat every single week causing trouble. We know that.
Actually, I will say, after everybody I see, you actually tend to chat the most. So yeah, believe me, we know you're here.
I got a lot to talk about, guys. I do. No, but no, I don't. No, I do need to watch it. I don't want to hear the spoilers, so I'm going to jump out this week. Thanks for having me again, guys. As well too. So I'll be back listening next week, and then of course listen to your podcast. And as far as From the Heart for the Heart, just a quick pub. We're kind of in reconstruction. Got a couple different things working. I know, John, we've been talking about it on the side as well as doing some different things. So just pay attention if you follow us on Facebook. Big announcements will be coming. All the way through the end of this month. So again, thanks, guys.
Yeah, Brandon, no problem. Thanks for joining us, buddy. And if you guys aren't fans of For the Heart, From the Heart, or From the Fart, whatever you call it, if you guys aren't following that or paying attention to that, you guys really should. There's a lot of good discussion there. Brandon, buddy, thank you. I appreciate it. We'll see you next week.
We'll have to bring you guys back on. See what kind of shit show. There's my one cuss word. See what kind of a shit show we can make it.
I
If
got
anybody's
you.
going to be able to do it, it's going to be us for sure, buddy.
Of course. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
No, thank you, Brandon. All right, so at this point, hold on one sec, Steve. This is going to... What?
When you were trying to say the name of the show, did you say fart?
I did say fart, absolutely.
Okay, I just wanted to make
From
sure
the
it
fart
wasn't
for the
me.
fart, yeah. No, it wasn't just you. I can't speak tonight. Which is why I'm going to be handing it over to Frankie to kind of facilitate the WandaVision discussion. And I'm going to dip out for just a minute. I've got some children to say goodnight to, and then I will be back. And I see Danny raising her hand. That's all you, Frankie. You figure out what she needs.
Yeah. So, guys, actually, I'm just going to as a precursor. This is going to be a WandaVision spoilers. WandaVision and don't want to be spoiled. Please mute us or do something that you can't hear us because we will be spoiling the entire show. Actually, I have to bring this up because nobody really says it much, and thank you. I love it. But going back,
real quick, I just wanted to say, I let Al know that he had won on the Station 71 Discord, and he had no clue that we were even doing this right now. So he was like, wait, are you guys live? Yes, Al. Yes, we are. So yeah, Al knows. He said Hell yeah, #1 podcast. So take that, Station 71.
Join us.
But anyway, Frankie, I'm done interrupting for now.
Going back to WandaVision. I appreciate it. I've got to say, so I'm going to start with you since you kind of madly gotten upset with me and split. So what was your expectations of this show before you saw it? Like, what did you want out of it first?
So before WandaVision, Scarlet Witch has been my favorite Avenger basically since she joined the MCU. Love her. So I was already super excited. I mean, I feel like a lot of people, we had no clue where this was going.
True, yeah.
Especially those first 2 episodes. The first 2 episodes were a little tough for me to get through just because like that style of TV is not my favorite. I'm not a huge fan of the like sitcoms. I mean, I don't even like Friends, things like that.
Well, you are the younger generation.
Yeah, but you know, that's just you know, the few sitcoms I like are all, you know, Parks and Rec, those kind of things. So
I thought we were talking about Marvel tonight.
John, go away.
No, John, we're not talking about MASH. Calm down.
There is nothing wrong with MASH. That is a fantastic show.
Yeah,
It is
so
good. It is good.
going into it, I love everything the MCU does. So I was very excited for it in the beginning. So
What about you, Steve? You're a fellow Marvel.
Knowing what happened at the end of Endgame and all of that, I had no idea what to think going into it. All I know is it was about Wanda and Vision. I didn't know if we were going to see something taking place in a Soul Stone or maybe an alternate timeline situation or what was happening. So I love the direction they went with it, but didn't see it coming. Not at first.
yeah.
I think it was full of surprises, really. What about you, John? Since you didn't yet hear it, what was your expectations for this show before the show?
I have, and I apologize because I see my internet meter here is kind of on the low end. So if my quality is less than par, I apologize. But I specifically did not know what to expect. There we go. Sorry. Yeah, I didn't know what to expect. I kind of was hesitant that the whole series was going to be this like drama using the television to tell the story, and like the whole WandaVision title. Like I was really concerned that it was going to be so different for what Marvel has done. And I can say I was very happy with the way it went. I'm very disappointed in the first 2 episodes, but I also realized that's a lot of setup. And since they don't have 22 episodes to do it in, they kind of got to make the first one meh, you know? So yeah. I get that. I can get over that, but I'm very happy with what they did, where they went, kind of how it ended. We'll come back to that.
Can I just speak for everyone for say thank you, Marvel, for still making it exactly what we expected from them once we saw the whole thing. Like the way it ended was just like that's Marvel. Perfect. I'm not giving anything away yet. I'm just saying that was just awesome.
So going into going in, sure what to expect. Of course, we all House of M MCU style, you know, and we kind of saw the first couple of what we were expecting. That's what we thought. But truthfully, the things I kind of was twins to show up. This is a story between Wanda and Vision. I wanted part of it. So, but then one of the things I want to discuss with y'all is, as you're watching the show, I know everybody and their mother started having theories on where they were going. And what was some of the theories y'all had with this as it was going, but that didn't really pan out? For example, I was seriously thinking, I see your hand raised, don't worry. This isn't first grade yet. Theories I had was this was going to introduce mutants into the MCU, which I think a lot of people had, but it just didn't happen. So, Steve, go ahead.
I forgot what the question was. What was the question?
What's theories that did you have that just didn't pan out that you were expecting that just,
Right. So I would say I definitely have to agree with you with the whole introduction of mutants. I will say that the message boards, the forums, the Facebook groups, it's been going around that the show creators didn't think anyone would make that connection with Quicksilver coming in from X-Men. He thought nobody would make that connection, and I call BS on that, because how are you going to bring X-Men's version of a key character in and not think anyone's going to make that connection? So
yeah,
but I was expecting a more X-Men centric outcome towards the end, and then I was also heavily hoping that we were going to see Reed Richards, and we didn't get that.
They set that up so nicely with
Monica Friend.
Reed. Oh God, they set that up so nicely. They set up possible mutants. They set up Reed Richards. They set up Mephisto. Like, they set up so many different things that would have just been fantastic outcomes. And that's kind of what I mean by I'm kind of okay with how it ended. There were a lot of opportunities that they missed that I really would have liked to have seen more from, but I'm not disappointed with how it ended. I'm very happy with that after credit scene, because that tied a lot of things together very nicely.
It did, and I think everything we've mentioned so far, and I'm sure with what Frankie and Danny will get to, I think they left a really wide open door for anything that we talked about and probably will talk about to happen in this next phase or the next couple phases. So I'm excited for it. I'm so stoked for everything right now. I have no idea. If I could walk, I'd dance a jig.
Yeah, I know for me, it was, again, right on where Steve was saying, I 100% thought they were going to be bringing mutants. I mean, we had talked about the possibility of, I believe it was John mentioned that there was rumors that Ewan McGregor was going to come in as, Magneto? There were all sorts of little hints. And if there's one thing we know that Marvel does well, it's that they leave these little hints through, that. And they leave these little hints that they, in 2 years, will see the fruition of them. So the biggest thing that hasn't been mentioned that I really thought they were going to bring into, and at least mention, was the multiverse. Knowing what we know about the upcoming slate of movies, I thought this was going to be the intro to the multiverse. This was going to be how Wanda kind of creates that. And I think at the end credit scene, on the last episode, we do see some sort of beginning. But I definitely thought it would be a bigger part of the plot than it was. But I mean, having a whole show based on dealing with grief and dealing with trauma, and kind of basically saying, like, nobody's way of doing that is perfect. Granted, Wanda's is a little extreme. I just think that the show is perfect. But yeah, multiverse is kind of the biggest thing that I was a little sad we didn't get to see yet.
I remember getting about 3 or 4 episodes into the show and going, I swear to God, if this is a show about her just coming to terms with the fact that Vision is dead, I'm going to be pissed. And that's what the entire show was, is her coming to terms with Vision being dead. And I am not pissed. So
Yeah, it was one of those things where I will say I really wish they would have followed more of the comic book storyline in that, because like we got half an episode of White Vision and him basically figuring out who he was, and then we have the twins.
such a disappointment for a character, by the way. They could have made him such a better villain.
Well, not only could he have been a better villain, but I think his adventure of figuring out who he was, that could have been its own thing. I mean, they gave him like a 4-second flashback, and he's like, "I am Vision," and just flies off. Like, I was a little peeved because in the comics, it's so drawn out and such an awesome story. Just like the twins. The twins are Wanda's kids, play a huge part in the comic books. Not to mention, as in the comics, at one point, Vision builds his own family. Like, there's so much they could have done for this that I feel like they slacked where they shouldn't have, but then they also delivered well where we thought they would lack, in my opinion.
I think we're going to see a lot of those things you just mentioned, though, Steve, come up in future things. So, we obviously know that because of the end credits scene in the final episode, we know that the twins are coming back, and spoiler alert, they have been spotted on the set of Multiverse of Madness. The 2 actors who play the kids, the 10-year-olds, Billy and Tommy.
So,
as well as White Vision.
So
I think that's
so with
I
that,
think White
the
Vision,
kids. Go ahead, Danny.
I was gonna say, I think White Vision is going to be coming back. I think that's going to be the way we get Vision from here on out. We're not going to have the colorful Vision. It's going to be White Vision. And if nothing else, taught a whole new group of people about the ship of Theseus.
Well, I mean, that definitely happened. I don't think we're going to keep White Vision though. I foresee. I feel like what's going to happen is to differentiate him from the original Vision, but not stay with White Vision, just because I don't think his palette's going to clash well when they try to film movies in the future. I feel like we might get more of a classic color palette with him.
Interesting.
I think they'll give us a more comic book accurate Vision without him looking really corny like his Halloween costume in WandaVision did.
Well, you got to realize,
I love that throwback though.
Oh, it's so good.
So in the comic book, Vision has died before and came back like almost every single other comic book characters themselves, And one of the storylines back was he wasn't sure of who he was and all that stuff, and it took time to realize his backstory. So I think that's the MCU's going to play on it in the future. Vision come back, but he's going to have to relearn himself, basically. Even though, he has, like, the other Vision unlocked his memories. But, yes. So...
Can we throw up Ethan's comment real quick?
Yeah,
I
want to talk about this.
The Evan Peters?
Yeah.
Because I'm not quite sure what he's talking about. I don't remember seeing a picture of Evan Peters.
That says Ralph Boner?
Yeah, his name was... Yeah,
well, I remember
Ralph.
that, yeah.
It was on like a headshot. It looked like he was an actor because it had the headshot and it said Ralph Boner at the bottom. That's what Monica was holding.
Yes.
Here's the thing, though. If you've watched Assembled, which is the behind the scenes that dropped this Friday, Evan Peters talks briefly, and under it says Quicksilver. It doesn't say Ralph Boner. Why would it say Quicksilver if the whole point is to watch this after?
So Ethan Legg makes a point. Maybe he's in witness protection, and with the advent or with the introduction of the mutants happening, it's not completely, off kilter to think that could be the case. Especially with mutants coming into the picture, we have the Sokovia Accords, which have already put a dampener on being a hero.
Do you think the
in
Sokovia Accords are
combination-
still going to be a huge thing after
Oh, yeah.
the events of Endgame?
Absolutely. I think they're gonna. I mean, I don't know what direction they'll go with. Maybe that gives birth to something else. I don't know, but I still think they're gonna play a big part because Sokovia, all this time later, is still an intricate part of the MCU, way after Age of Ultron, and it carried on all the way through. Now, like, granted, the heroes did save the universe essentially, or at least half of it, but I still think that that's going to play part in it, and especially when it comes to introducing the mutants, because at this point, if mutants are starting to pop up or they're starting to track these guys down, like we see in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that maybe these people start popping up more and more in different situations. I mean, again, why would they assume we're not going to make an X-Men connection? Makes no sense. Of course we're going to make that connection. And two, why would they call him Quicksilver and everything if you played Ralph Boner? Boner.
To be fair, one of the things that I threw up in the chat last week that we just never got a chance to talk about is that they've released the mutants, which is like their connection. I guess that's like what they're calling the working title for the X-Men movie. Let me see if I can find it.
Real quick, while John's looking for that, do you think the mutants have already been introduced in the form of Monica Rambeau?
No.
You don't think
Not
she's
yet.
going to be considered a mutant?
No.
Oh,
No,
no, wait, hold on. I do. Absolutely. Because in the explanation of her powers and the transformation she goes to, she is essentially experiencing a real-time genetic mutation that's causing her to have the powers she has. We're also seeing the fact that that Wanda was born the way she was, and then her children are being born with powers as well, which would also be a genetic handover, just like in anything you pass down to your kids, health wise or whatever. So I think we're being real low key under the radar given this start to the idea of mutants without directly saying the word.
I agree. I definitely think that Monica Rambeau, or Photon, as her character is called in the comics, is I think that she is our intro to the mutants, and with her new, especially where she stands with Sword and everything else that she, her connections to Captain Marvel and everything, I think we're 100% going to see her involved in some way of finding other people who are like her.
I just feel like Disney could do so much better, and Marvel specifically could do so much better than that being the introduction of mutants. I feel like they could have a much better lead-in than that.
I think that I don't think this is the official. I don't think this is the official like big throw up for mutants. I mean, this isn't like when Thanos was introduced and it was like a huge deal. Because remember, Thanos was introduced after the Avengers. It wasn't even Josh Brolin. It was just some dude,
Smiling, right?
Exactly. And everyone kind of was like, oh shit, there's Thanos. But it flew under the radar for such a long time. And then we finally get the big, Thanos reveal. And I feel like this is Marvel kind of putting that thought in our heads of, hey, mutants, people can become mutated, and we're going to start seeing, through that, the X-Men being introduced.
Well, and we hear that at the end of the day, there's somebody that they want Monica to meet, right? Outside of who she meets in the theater.
I'm sure that's Fury.
Well, and here's the thing. Yes, I too I'm like 90% sure it's Fury. However, with the mutation that she went through, you know, they could be with her transformation. Her transformation is very similar to that of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Now, we don't know how the Fantastic Four is going to work in the MCU. We don't know if they love their abilities, if they're trying to get rid of their abilities. We don't know what storyline they're going with. But maybe her transformation happening terrestrially instead of in space, like the Fantastic Four experienced, or God forbid they go with the alternate universe thing. But either way, her situation could easily feed into meeting Reed Richards still outside of what we've seen so far.
At this point, I disagree with that. I think at this point, I know everybody is in the camp of it's oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. You literally just said his name up in space. Nick Fury. Everybody's up. Yeah. No, everybody's in this camp. Everybody I've talked to at least is like, oh yeah, it's Nick Fury. He's up in space. Everybody said so at the end of Spider-Man. My thing is, how much more would it make sense that it might be Victor Von Doom? And this is how you tie in that the Fantastic Four. Like, that makes more sense to me as an introduction. That she goes up to space, Victor Von Doom is trying to do research on her. He pulls these 4 people together, try and get figure out, and then boom, everybody gets powers. You know, that makes more sense to me than anything else that we've said so far.
Well, I mean, I think Von Doom is definitely a plausible connection because he does play a big part in Spider-Man in the comics. He plays a big part in Fantastic Four. He plays a big part in the Avengers. He plays a giant part
everywhere.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, even in the Young Avengers, which we're also getting into that new Avengers territory with, Lady Thor, with the possibility of a new Iron Man at some point, things like that. So, yeah. So we could absolutely get, that could happen. Von Doom. And the thing is, he should absolutely be introduced as a good guy at first. No question.
For sure. And I think the best story arc from him would be told in a series, not in a movie, because you could take 12 episodes and 10 of them he's the good guy, and in the last 2 it just,
Well, I was gonna say I think what they could do, because if they wanted to introduce him as a good guy and eventually turn him into one of the big bads, what they need to do is kind of pull like a Hulk situation and kind of put his story in these other stories over the course of so many movies until we get to his story. Because like he could play a big part in helping Spider-Man go his own way, and we could get him helping Monica and blah, blah, blah. But you know what? That's all hearsay, though. We still got to focus on WandaVision because we've talked about like the beginning, a little bit of the middle, and the end. There's so much crap in the middle we haven't touched yet.
Yeah, and I know it's funny because I just wrote you guys and said, let's get back onto WandaVision. But we're going to sidetrack for a sec because Danny's dad is making a comment about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And this is a theory that I had. So it is kind of related. I was in the school of thought that WandaVision was going to set up mutants. Falcon and the Winter Soldier was going to be hunting down mutants as part of the Sokovia Accord. And then by the time we get to Loki, it was going to be, because that's a time travel story, it was going to be trying to undo the mutation. So I kind of had this running theory of what all 3 of those productions were going to be. And now that's all out the window because we don't have mutants at this point. So I think it's going to be possible that we're going to get more superheroes in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but I don't know if they're going to be mutants.
I mean, I think it would make sense in the context of we already know somebody's wearing the Captain American mantle. We don't know if he has abilities or anything yet. He could just be a guy, like a normal dude. But, what if, theoretically, and again, this is just me being me, what if he is a normal dude wearing the mantle and then he goes through a mutation and ends up being just as strong and powerful as Cap?
And let's be clear, they rebuilt Vision without the Soul Stone. How hard is it to make the serum to make somebody a super soldier? And even maybe not to the Captain America level, but at this point, we're genetically mutating people by walking through a hex,
exactly. So,
Which, speaking of, and we'll bring this back to WandaVision, how I couldn't get over the fact that they kept calling it a hex because it was a hexagonal shape, but the whole time she was literally putting a hex on the town. Like, come on.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
That was not by accident.
I tell you, I absolutely love how Marvel does this, is because we know that the Marvel universe, and especially in WandaVision, we see it. We know that technology is a big part in the MCU, and we've been learning that like magic is a thing in the MCU, more or less.
Which I
So,
love.
Yep.
and I love how they intertwine that so beautifully. Like, and the hex is a perfect example, right? Like, they called it a hex because it was shaped like a hexagon, and it turns out she was casting a hex the whole time. And I wonder how many people's heads that went over. But in my mind, I was like, that's such a beautiful mending of phrasing, and technology meets magic. Like, it was the coolest thing. Right?
So
And,
since
I mean,
we're
it's true to the
on
story too.
Mhm.
hexes, let's talk about what we all saw coming, but was still the big reveal, which was that it
Agatha all
was
along.
Agatha all along. I mean, we all knew it was Agatha Harkness from
I
like.
didn't think she was going to be the big baddie, though.
I didn't think she was gonna be the big baddie.
Yep.
I didn't see
I think
that
she
either.
was. I
No.
think she was the puppet.
Yep, but I loved it. I loved Catherine Hahn as Agatha. I'm not gonna lie. When the first 2 episodes released, I had to do a lot of research on Agatha Harkness because she just wasn't a character that I knew very well, you know. But I loved it. Loved her outfit. Loved the way she acted. Loved the way how everything was interconnected, and that's the shit that I'm here for with Marvel. All of the little lines that connect you to everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like the bunny was named what was it, Mr. Scratchy,
And Nicholas Scratch.
Nicholas Scratch is her son, and then the first time you ever meet Mephisto, I think he was a fly, and then there was that bug crawling down the window. I think it might have been a locust.
Yeah, we see in the, I believe it was the 60s episode, there is Nightmare's helmet in like hidden in the credits.
Yes.
Yep. And the wallpaper as well.
Yep.
Yep.
And so it was like they dropped all that, oh, maybe it's not. But then, I mean, let's be real, even after we got the song, It's Been Agatha All Along, I was still like, nah, it's somebody else. Like, but they were straight up. It was Agatha all along. And I loved what
But
I think
it still could be somebody else,
Yeah, but I think what I loved most about Agatha as a character is in the comics, she goes kind of back and forth between good and bad. And you could definitely see that in the show where, God. In some moments you're like, oh, she kind of really seems like she wants to help Wanda and help her figure this out. And then other times you're like, oh no, she just wants her powers. And even in the Salem witch trial scene, I truly believe she was trying to say, like, I could be good. I can't control this. Yeah.
They, first of all, the way that character was written was beautiful. I mean, outside of the fact that I'm a Marvel fan, just like in the pure sense of how somebody plays a character and how it's written was perfect. And then honestly, I wouldn't have chosen her to play that. But I'm so glad they did, because she was so, like, the way she would go from her character to when, jeez, Danny.
I know, I'm sorry.
I know you don't jump at me, stop it. All right, anyway, let's see. But anyway, the actress they chose, I would never have guessed her, but the way she would go from normal, or like the giddy, stupid, neighbor lady next door, from nosy neighbor to when Vision would like unlock her for a second, and how she would go into pure panic and crazy mode, then back to it, was so seamless. It was ridiculous, and it was the coolest thing to watch. And then how she turned when she exposed herself as Agatha, the same thing, how she rode that line between I want to help and I want to destroy you and I want your power, was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
I definitely think she got a lot of, and this is not necessarily anything that we can talk about, but like when we talk about special effects, man, I love the way they made her look. Like the gown that like flowed into like smoke,
the black fingers.
Yeah.
Such a good touch. Yeah.
Yep.
I think out of this whole series, out of everyone that was introduced, I mean, I loved seeing Jimmy Woo and Darby.
Darcy.
Darby.
I love seeing Darcy too.
Okay.
I hope we see more of her.
Oh, My God,
Well, before you go, just Frankie threw a link up there. I don't know if anybody wants to like take that down or screenshot it, but this is that article that I was talking about, where you can see the running title for the new X-Men thing. Anyway, go ahead, Steve.
What were we talking about? Darcy and Wu.
Yeah.
First of all, they need a show together.
Oh, 100%.
Their chemistry on screen, honestly, I almost looked forward to that as much as I was looking forward to finding out who the baddies were in the show. Like, Wu is so awkward and charming and like adorable in such a weird way. And then Darcy is so Danny with a PhD that I just wanted to like I wanted to watch her like get harmed in this show, but only because it would just make her a better person. So like combined, I just wanted to see them. I want to see them in a show together. Like it was the best thing ever.
Fun fact, that's the second time recently somebody has compared me to a Kat Dennings character. And truthfully, that's like the nicest compliment. When I was in Vegas, a stranger who was like taking pictures while I was talking to my best friend was like, "You seem like the girl from Two Broke Girls." And I was like, that is the nicest thing anyone has ever said to me. Thank you. So thank you, Steve.
You know what? Real quick.
I agree, Carly. I do want to see her do more card tricks.
Oh,
yeah.
So good.
Yeah. In the world of weird compliments, I was given 3 this week. Actually, starting from last week's live when you called me Fat Jesse James. Then someone called me a Fat Triple H, and I was like, okay, I don't really see that one. And then I got Luke Combs, and I was like, why not Fat Luke Combs? Because I'm smaller than him. So, you know,
you do look like him. You do absolutely look like him.
I do look like generic Luke Combs. I'm not okay with it. I don't sound like him.
I still think if you put those sunglasses back on, you look like you're going to buy a tiger farm.
You know what? If it wasn't for that bitch Carol Baskin,
just a 30. Frankie, I know you're still here. If you could throw Carly's comment up on here, she goes, just a 30-minute special of Jimmy Woo doing card tricks.
I would watch that. I would watch that whole
I would
thing
100%.
over and over again. Yeah.
And then at the end, Ant-Man just walks in, pissed that he's gotten better at it than he has.
he walks up to Ant-Man, does a trick, and he goes, "Fucking, what was that?"
Not even that. He just walks up and he goes, "Hey, can you teach me that?"
And then Jimmy Woo's like, "No."
Back to WandaVision. There was I don't know, John, Steve, did you guys watch Assembled?
No, not yet.
Okay. Highly recommend. I one of the things I love is, for those who don't know, the 2 people that did the music for WandaVision also did the music for Frozen. So if you like that WandaVision theme or Agatha all along, just know same people that crafted Let It Go. So
yeah. And I don't know if you saw that, but when we were I had posted a link to Mario in the Station 71 podcast Discord, and it was how they designed all of the music for the entire show. So even, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and the Agatha song all have the same 4 notes throughout the whole thing.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah.
Yep. Every single song that they did. Yep. I thought it was so cool.
Yep.
About Taco Bell's on its way. I'm so excited.
That is exciting.
All right, so Frankie, unfortunately, his internet is kind of meh, and I think that's why we were having some technical issues. So he's kind of producing behind the scenes, but he did post a question that he would have asked if he was here, and that is, who do you all think is going to take over for Sword?
Ooh, I
have a theory.
I'd like it to be Jimmy Woo.
I don't think it's going to be him. I don't think it's going to be Darcy. I have a sneaking suspicion if it's not Monica, it could be. If it's not Monica, we could see Carol Danvers coming back to take over.
It's not any of them.
Who do you think it is, John?
I think it's going to be Phil J. Coulson.
No way. Ooh, I'd love. Ooh. You know what, though? I can see him and Fury both being in charge of each, sword and shield.
Yeah, think about it.
Ooh, that'd be
think
dope.
about it.
But then they would have to open up that whole can of worms with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
You know what?
Yeah,
And
but
they-
how many
and
cans of
Marvel-
worms have they corrected? I mean, Captain
on.
America took a sniper bullet in the comics and he got pulled through a portal from another dimension. If we're going to create the multiverse, that's the perfect person to pull out.
True.
Well, so Agents of Shield. As much as I hated that show and I love Coulson, I can see Coulson being a huge part of this if they want to retcon him coming back, which they did with Agents of Shield, obviously. But bringing him back into the MCU, I would absolutely love that. I think that would be killer. That being said, I don't see what else they could pull from Agents of Shield though, for anything, because it was bad.
It was not bad. Are you kidding me?
I didn't like it.
How far did you get into it?
All of it. I like the Inhumans better.
Okay. You've seen the whole thing. Okay. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying you have to like bring Quake into the MCU or anything, but
Right.
at minimum, you got Ghost Rider. And that Robbie Reyes portrayal was not bad. That was pretty
I don't
damn
know. Is it any,
Ghost-
but it's not Nicolas Cage.
and it should never be. Ever again.
You can't compare them because they are not the same Ghost Rider.
No, they're
There are
not.
several
No, they're two different
there's
people.
There's several different Ghost Riders. I
Yeah.
would love to see the
Johnny
Ghost
Blaze
Rider
is just
from
one of them.
I would love to see Agents of Shield's Ghost Rider make it to the MCU because I think he would fit in better than Nicolas Cage's would. Nicolas Cage's was, I think his was TV grade in comparison to the one that was on Agents of Shield. In my opinion,
Well,
I think that was me.
There was a rumor going around that they were going to be turning Robbie Reyes's Ghost Rider into a Hulu series. So I don't know where we stand on that, but that was the biggest rumor for the long time, is that we were going to get something on Hulu specific to Marvel. So I don't know. We'll see. We are terrible at staying on topic with anything, guys. You realize that?
You know what? Here's the thing, John. We are terrible. We are absolutely terrible at staying on topic. We're also terrible at watching our language and not talking about inappropriate things. But let me ask you a question. Okay, would you come back and keep watching if we just droned on about the same shit over and over again? No, we make it fun. So get over it. And anybody in the comments, if you have a question,
Ooh, goodbye. Wow, we are losing people left and right. I
It's
guess
just me
I'll
and you,
finish-
Danny.
Oh, my nightmare. I guess I'll finish up that thought for John or for Steve. If you have any, oh, there he is. If you have any
he's back.
questions about our thoughts or any theories you'd like us to discuss, we're going to be closing up here in about 10 minutes. So now is the time to ask us your questions, because we want to close out with what you guys got to say, because that's the whole reason we're here.
So
Yeah, I mean-
overall impressions of WandaVision. I know
Loved
we
it.
kind of talked about this in the beginning. Loved it, hated it.
I'll go first, because Steve is going to talk a lot longer than I am.
Uh-huh. Probably about
whatever.
Sasquatch too.
You have circular breathing, so whatever.
Okay, anyway, loved it.
Got it.
I think this is truly some of the best content that Disney or that Marvel has come out with. I am I think this is top 5 Marvel for me. The only things that might beat it are like Endgame and Thor Ragnarok. Those are the only two that probably beat it for me. Maybe Civil War as well. Probably Civil War. It's probably number 4 on my list of Marvel.
Well, all right. So, as far as what I absolutely loved was, I like how they didn't give us a whole lot of leakage going into this. You know, we had an idea of who was in it for I'd say 80% of it. We didn't know what direction they were going. We didn't know what to expect till we hit episodes 3 or 4. But I think, I mean, a visit from Sasquatch in that show probably would have completed it for me.
I hope you know, I was up north this weekend, and
they kind of had Chupacabra because Agatha's also a goat sucker. So
I hope you know, Steve, this weekend I was up north with my boyfriend to kind of get out of the desert for a second. And he was like, this is Sasquatch territory. And I was just like, babe, I need one trip where I need like one day where I don't hear Sasquatch's name. God, please.
It just won't happen.
So, and then I got one other question for you guys. Just I want to get your impressions on it. Very end scene. right? She's in that cabin. She's astral projecting herself. I don't know if your dad is going, no, don't talk about this, or no to Sasquatch.
I would probably no to Sasquatch because there's a delay.
Yeah. So, you know, she's astral projecting beyond what Doctor Strange is capable of doing at this point, because when he does it, his body just kind of, you know, goes limp and falls over. She is actually walking around doing things and reading the Darkhold at the same time. So where do you think this is going?
Well, I think we have to remember, though, real quick, is Doctor Strange was a student of the arts. She was born of it, right? And I think with going through the journey she took, Sasquatch was able to really discover what kind of possibilities she had. And I think once she was able to unlock that internally, she was able to Sasquatch really start becoming the Scarlet Witch that we know and love in the comics.
Her outfit was amazing, by the way.
Oh my God, that outfit!
I just wanted to
fangirl for a minute.
Fucking amazing.
Yes.
The only thing hotter than that is Sasquatch. But let me tell you this: I think where we're heading
in a Scarlet Witch outfit.
Oh, I need a towel. I swear to God. But no, I think we're heading into. I don't know. I still think this points real headstrong towards mutants. I think it does. I think that's where it's leading. Also, it's going to lead to a mostly Lady Avengers, which is cool. I mean, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I'm still not sure that we're going to have Lady Thor at the end of that movie. I'm pretty sure she's dying. I don't see Natalie Portman carrying that hammer for too long.
No,
she didn't get that buff to play that part one time. There's no way.
Oh, yeah, she would. Come on.
No.
All right, well, I don't know about you guys. I'm good with where we're at. I'm ignoring Danny's dad in the chat at this point because I don't want to facilitate this argument any more than we have to. Danny, you were saying you wanted to plug the new episode this week, correct?
Yeah. So,
sorry, go ahead.
I hate you. So a new episode just dropped, and I am the lovely host this week of it. I kind of lead it. We're going to be going into our Dark Disney series. For those, I mentioned it last week, but for anyone who knows me, I'm a massive true crime fan. And so we're going to be doing a series on some crime that has happened in Disney and on Disney properties. So this week we're starting with the disappearance of Rebecca Corium. Just to give you an idea of what it is, basically a cast member goes missing on the Disney Wonder cruise ship and is never found. So we talk about that and some of the theories, and Steve's not on it, if that makes you feel better about listening to it. Steve just really hates us and is only here for the live stuff at this point.
I'd like to think that we kicked him off of this episode.
As always, please give us a share, a like, a review, whatever. I know that sounds kind of like
now because I'll be at the next one. I'll be at the next one, so go enjoy it while you can, okay? And at least Sasquatch has hands to carry the hammer.
That's what I got. I can't hear either. Oh, my headphones were turned down. That's why I couldn't hear anything. I see you both.
Oh man. All right. Well, yeah. So Steve didn't join us last week. He's been off the last 2 weeks, but he will be back just in time to take over for me. I am going to be gone on a couple future episodes here, but rest assured, we are going to be recording a new episode on Tuesday before I leave out of town. So you will have me for one more week, but I will not be on a couple live episodes due to just my sister's getting married. So, hey, there's that. That's a little bit more important than this. So for those of you that are still hanging around with us, I appreciate you guys watching the show. I appreciate you guys listening to us and watching us every single week. If you guys subscribe to the podcast, thank you. Or I guess follow is what Apple's going to be calling it now. If you guys follow our podcast, thank you. The biggest compliment you can give to any one of us is to share that with family and friends, share it on Facebook, get it into the Disney groups that exist out there, and let everybody know that we're out there. And of course, we still have that contest that is going on. If you have not put a comment or a review onto your podcast platform, please do that. We greatly appreciate it. We love any feedback. And
Steve's
we,
dementia, John's dementia is kicking in, so
yeah,
please
it's
forgive
getting
him.
past my bedtime. So you can see where you can follow us if you don't already do that. That's slapped on the bottom there. And one final thing before we go, we apologize for the technical difficulties that we had tonight. This is literally our third episode, so we're still figuring this out as we go. Frankie is a master at putting this together. The first episode, we have absolutely nothing, and now we've got graphics and background music and background images and things that splash up, and it's just he's rocking it. So Frankie, thank you. To Danny's dad, to Carly, to everybody that participated tonight, thank you very much. We will see you guys
Brandon,
next week.
for jumping in with us too.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brandon, for being a guest host. We will have another guest host with us next week to take my place to discuss the March Madness. I'm going to try and put a proxy vote in there. We'll see what happens. But again, until next week, my name is John. That is Danny. Down there at the bottom is Steve. And behind the scenes, behind that brick wall in the background, there is Frankie. We appreciate it. We will see you guys next week live on the Hyperion.